Do you think that a business has to have a niche to be successful?
We're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
Hi, Waleed.
What's up, Jess?
What's good?
Life's good. Just pushing through COVID, still doing business.
All right, what are we talking about today?
Focusing. Drilling down in your business and focusing, aka
niche.
Whoa, sound like you said something else 1 minute there. Niches.
Today we're going to talk about how we selected a niche for our respective businesses, and we're going to share with you how you can identify your niche so that you can find profits.
Is it niche?
If you look up the word at Merriam-Webster, it's a place of employment, status, or activity for which a person or thing is best fitted.
Okay.
Or a specialized market. So we had a previous conversation about, we were talking about marketing last week, and we talked about being focused, right? Because sometimes, and I gave the example, you can talk to the same people about a lot of different things, or you can talk to a lot of people about the same thing. And so focus.
Drilling down
on something very specific, something focused, something niched. All right, so Cope, give us an example. What's going on with the soapbox? What niche do you think the soapbox fills?
Well, we only focus on three things: laundry, wash, dry, fold, dry cleaning on a hanger, and sneaker cleaning, and that's it. So, did we niche, as Johnson would say? Did we niche down? Absolutely. But some people might say, "Hey, you're doing three different things. So, are you really?" Is it really are you focusing on a niche? We are, but let's kind of back up a little bit and look at it from, we're providing the service so you don't have to do it yourself. So whether you drop it off or we come and pick it up from your home and deliver it back to you or your business, we're focusing on the niche of just doing delivery service or walk-in, you were going to say?
I was going to say it goes a little bit deeper than that, though, because it's not just the laundry, the dry cleaning, the sneaker. You also niche down with respect to geography, because you don't pick up clothes everywhere.
And we niche down to the business because we had two locations. One was self-service, and then we have one that was full service. And then we shut down the self-service.
Now, can you talk to the folks in Commerce and Chill Land about how your real estate experience led you to focus?
Put up the paywall. We're going to have to charge for this episode because I'm going to drop so much knowledge here right now. So in real estate, and I'm going to try and make this super short because we've only got 24 minutes left in this episode. In real estate, the typical model is someone becomes an agent / broker. And there's two sides of every transaction. There's the buyer side and there's the seller side. I have no idea what the statistics are, but I'm willing to bet, I don't know, it's some high number, let's say probably like in the high 70s, low 80s, that most agents and brokers choose to represent both sides of the transaction. And not just there's two sides of transactions, there's multiple facets of the real estate business. There's commercial, there's residential, there's the selling, there's buying, there's renting, there's leasing, et cetera, et cetera. So I was selling commercial, I was selling residential. If you're not familiar, residential is typically a home that's like 3 families or less, and then it's owner occupied. Then anything else like mixed use, where it has a commercial piece and residential above, or et cetera, it's a taxpayer, which is, it's just commercial. It's just a business or like an office occupying space. It's considered commercial. Or a multi-family residential building with multiple apartments would still fall under that. So we were doing everything. And I was just like showing apartments one day, showing apartments some days, and then houses the others, commercial, residential. It was all over the place. So it was a little crazy. I went to another shop, and I will never forget this. The broker screamed on me. Screamed on me when I was younger, screamed on me and was like, if you're not doing like I don't know, 30, 40,000 a year just in rentals, and then doing whatever else in sales, like condos, co-ops, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
She's giving me the speed it up sign. Like you're wasting your time. And I just felt like I was pulling myself in so many directions, and I was just basically like, what the fuck am I doing?
So when did you have the epiphany not to keep doing that?
So the epiphany was I stumbled across this firm. It was no longer in existence, but was well known for commercial, Massey Knackle. Their philosophy was totally different. They only represented one side of the transaction, which is the seller side. So we didn't represent any buyers, just the seller. Then we only focused on a certain class of buildings. So it was commercial buildings that fit into a particular group. And then it got even more niched. Each agent / broker / team only focused on a specific geographical area. It was gangster after that. I got to focus on a neighborhood that I knew, I grew up in, and got to focus on properties within this particular range. So I didn't have to worry about what co-op boards and condos, or about leasing and renting. All I had to do was focus on how much is this property worth when I did a valuation, and then how the heck I'm going to market it and who I'm going to market it to. It took so much off my plate, and things changed tremendously. Had a lot of signs in the neighborhood. A lot of people calling me. A lot of people who I still have relationships with today, that outside of the real estate, that developed because of that, because I was so focused, I was able to have a bigger impact on the area that I was selling properties in. So using the soapbox as an example, I carried that right into it. I was like, we're going to do a few things. And, you and, Brother D were involved in it. We scaled down the product line. We scaled down the services.
Oh my gosh, we must have had at least 151 different SKUs.
Easy. We at least
when we first
find me a laundromat who has like 100, like literally
and
off
SKUs
the top of my
are the
head.
different.
The barcodes on the back of
Right.
products when you buy them, when they scan it, it's
So
SKU.
like each size is a SKU, each variety or flavor or scent is a SKU.
Exactly.
If it's liquid version versus a
powder version,
it's a different SKU.
The powder version is a 10-ounce box, and then there's a 55-ounce box. It's a different SKU. The barcodes, you got to scan them into the system and track it. No lie, we had at least, off the top of my head, we had like 115 roughly different SKUs. And like our basement, 3/4 of our basement space in the store was dedicated to product. Like it was.
And if you're thinking about
sickening.
starting a retail business or
do not
anything
miss
where
that
product is involved, that's money that's sitting on your
Yo,
shelves.
we had, listen, thousands. Literally, no. When the truck would pull up to make a delivery of product, like we used to have to write a check for like at least 9 G's. And I was like, why are we buying this? We had other family members involved in the business at that time. And they were like, you have to have every product that somebody ever wants. And I'm like, no. We need to have the products that the majority of our clients, customers want, and that move on a regular basis, and the profit margin makes sense for us.
And you hear me say this all the time. If you watch those restaurant renovation shows, the
first
first
thing
they do before they tear down the walls or the doors, they look at the menu and they
scale
tear
that
it
shit
down. They focus on a few good things, so you're not spending extra money on extra product, extra inventory, and that people know this is what you're known for.
So we've done it in more than one business.
And we recommend that you do it too.
Do you think that a business has to have a niche to be successful?
No, because there are plenty of businesses out there that don't have niches.
They don't.
Yes.
No, I'm saying I agree. They don't. Not
However,
like they don't.
the ultra successful businesses that I know have niches that they're extremely good at servicing, and they will ride those niches till the wheels fall off. So,
Yeah.
and in terms of niches for your business model, think of Southwest Airlines.
Ooh.
Southwest
Shout out
Airlines. What happened? Shout out to
Herb Keller.
moment of silence.
A shout out to him still.
But for the longest, Southwest Airlines only used one model of airplane. Why?
Do they still do it?
I think they might have ordered some of the new model.
Oh.
But
But they
think that's
use
largely
one.
because
They have one airplane.
because they only had to train the mechanics on one set of specs.
Train the pilots on one thing. Train the attendants.
Buy one set of equipment.
I'll buy one screw if it's all my planes.
Exactly.
You don't got to have a lot of inventory. It's so smart.
And Southwest has been one of the most profitable airlines of all time.
Thank you, Southwest. I just want to thank you. Yes, I just want to say thank you.
So if you like to travel and you travel in any Southwest market, or you've ever been on a Southwest
you've been doing
flight,
well. Appreciate you.
They can keep their costs low, which I'm sure many consumers enjoy, because they have the niche with respect to the equipment they use in the form of their planes.
You know how much money they must save? People just don't know. That's some gangster. But yeah, I'm sorry. That's so smart.
So I'm reminded of when I first took over Johnson Security, one of the things I was tasked with doing was making a website. We've been around for a couple of decades. We're no World Wide Web. We were founded. And so I looked to some of our competitors' websites.
There was no World Wide Web in 1962.
No, don't play. And we looked at some of our competitors' websites to get an idea of what we should have on our website. And hand to the man, you go to any security company's website.
They do everything. Everything.
Everybody did everything. Oh, they did residential security, commercial security, armed security, unarmed security,
CCTV,
schools,
investigations, what else? Background checks, all this. I was like, wow, you just keep scrolling on their website. They do everything.
The point is, we made a decision very early on. We were going to focus on a few areas within the security business. We were not trying to do everything.
Niched it down.
We niched it down.
Right. And how have you found from that time period to now, over these 12 plus years?
Since it was 2010.
Since you decided to niche the business down and not focus on, all these aspects of security, how have you seen the results? What impact have you seen?
It gives me a greater sense of peace of mind. Number one, because when people come to us and like, oh, I have a homeless shelter. No disrespect to homeless shelters. We don't do homeless shelters. So when I get those emails, I can say, thank you, no thank you. We don't do that.
Right.
Somebody was like.
And it's just not what we specialize in. Right. It's nothing against the shelters. It's just like we choose to focus on a particular type of work that our team members are trained to, that have the skill set for, so we can deploy those team members to a variety of sites that we service, which is beneficial to the client because now they have backup team members. And it's also way more beneficial to our team members because, as you know, if anybody knows about security business, people's hours a lot of times fluctuate up and down a lot due to the demand or how scheduling is done. It gives our team members the opportunity to go work at multiple places so they can keep their hours at a steady level.
With multiple places, we mean different assignments.
Right, different sites.
Not like they got jobs at 5 different companies, even though some of them would like to.
Yeah, like they might work at, let's say, a residential building this week, and then the client says, you know what, because of COVID, we need less coverage, and then we could transfer them to a commercial office building because it's the same skill set that they'll use at a residential building at this commercial building or office building. In
addition to the benefits of niching down for our employees, and in terms of scheduling and training, there's also an administrative benefit to niching down, because what we find is typically in one area of the business, there's a certain way that the clients like their invoices, their submittals, there's certain training requirements that we have to do internally. There's certain reporting functions that we have. And so if we're doing that on a consistent basis for several customers, then we have economies of scale that are built into that. So if it's like there's reporting that has to be done every month and we have to spread that across 20 accounts, that's much better for us. We can hire one person and put that person just to do those reports, as opposed to if we only have those reports across three accounts, then it's like, don't waste my time with that.
Right.
So have you ever had to change a business model to better address or serve a niche market?
Every day.
Give me an example.
Soapbox. I'm using the same example over and over. Our listeners going to get tired, but it works. It makes sense. Learn from it. Like, do it. We scaled down. Like we've said, we looked at what was going on. All right, let's use the example before we actually stepped away from self-service. Everything was under one roof. Self-service, people doing drop-off service. This is before we did pickup and delivery. People would drop it off. People come into the store to do their own laundry. We were selling all these products on the shelf. We were doing everything out of one location. And we were just like, what else? We were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. What else could we do that's going to bring some more revenue through the door? And we just kept adding stuff. You know, it's like cooking a meal. You start adding too many ingredients after a while, it tastes like shit. But you got to have the right balance between these different ingredients, and it has a certain flavor. It has a certain flavor profile. Like you get a different experience. So we noticed people were coming in to drop off their clothes. And I remember, like, I can remember in my mind standing in the booth looking through the glass and watching people going around the store, and someone comes in to drop off their clothes. And then we have to like run, go get the bag where we store the bags.
Get the bag? What's in the bag? Did you secure the bag?
Oh, I secured it. And it was clean laundry in the bag, which led to a deposit, not the bag. We would have to run, go get the bag from, where we store them, bring it back, hand it to the client, finish the transaction if they didn't prepay. And then I'm just looking like they're bumping into people, or like they're like trying to get out the way. Sometimes people pushing their carts by with the laundry. And I was like, it's two different people. Like it's two different clients that we're serving. We need to separate this. We need to give them the service that they need that focuses on them. Like we need to we need to niche down on the drop-off service. And then we look too at the numbers when we were having, our regular store meetings, and the drop-off service was doubling pretty much every month. And I was just like, if this is going to keep doubling every month, it's going to outpace what the self-service business is doing. And we're going to have to make a judgment call. Do we start shutting the store down so we can get more orders done and only be open to the public on certain days, which we ended up doing. So this didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like this whole light switch moment. And it wasn't like we had an epiphany. It's about like watching what's going on in your business, like looking at the data, listening to what people are saying, listening to what your team members are saying, what your customers and clients are saying, like, and just being present in your business. Sometimes you're there, but you're not really there. But it was really about being present, being there, and sometimes not doing jack in the store. And I would just stand in the corner sometime, like, I don't know, clothes were in the dryer running. We were there many a days doing laundry because we had so much. We had to jump in and fold. I can remember those days we had
we had half the store with laundry.
We shut the store down and we were all in there. It was like 8 of us just wash, drying, and folding clothes. We had that many freaking orders. The place was packed. But, I was standing there and I was just, looking at the dryer and just watching people interact. So it led to us saying, hey, we're taking the drop off, the service part of this business, and we moved it across the street and put it under its own roof and its own brand.
And I'll add that when we noticed this divergence in our customer base, like there was a different person who wanted to come in and spend all weekend in the laundromat versus the person that wanted to pick up the phone, have their laundry picked up, and then had it returned to them with a nice lavender sachet in it.
Whoa, you can't be giving out all our secrets.
Whatever. What we noticed was when we began to focus on that pickup, delivery, wash, dry, fold client, more of them began to appear. So it was somewhat like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Analogy.
Yeah, I mean, we did promote.
You could build it, but you still need to have some good. You still got to
do what you got to do.
And that's the key. When you start niching down, you start eliminating some distractions. You start eliminating these other things, and you get to become really good at what you're doing. Like, so we got to really focus down and eliminate all these other distractions. And we started looking at team members, the man, everybody. We're like, how do we make this, how do we make laundry better? Like, in all kind of crazy, I don't even want to say crazy, all kind of good, crazy ideas started coming up. Some we implemented, some we would just like put it on the board. Let's put it in the what do they call it?
Parking lot?
In the parking lot, right. I was going to say the ice box. Put in the parking lot, and let's revisit that later. Like, all kind of stuff came up. Like, how do we fold faster, but how do we fold it better? How do we make the clothes smell better? Like, how do we introduce, because now we don't have to focus on running around cleaning the store or helping somebody with a machine to get stuff. That's more time that we got to focus on that. And here's the other piece we got to do. And I'm going to give you my five advantages of niching down from what we've experienced.
Okay.
And this will be at the end of the episode after you click on the button and send me a payment for this. So one thing we realized too, besides focusing and being better and like you get to become an expert in what you're doing, mm-hmm. because that's what you're focused on, and like your brain starts like going to this whole next level. We also got to develop better relationships with our customers and clients, because now we're forming a more closer connection, because we're only focusing on one or two things with them versus it was self-service this, and then you run it all around. Now you get to get in tune.
When you dating people and you go from dating 3 people to just one person,
like you become
really connect with that person.
Omnipresent or whatever. No, that's where you're everywhere. You become like super focused. Like, so now when Eduardo brings in his laundry, before he would come and like he drop off his clothes and I'd be like, oh yeah, how you want special instructions? He'd be like cold water, organic detergent, and put a little CBD oil in the water, so when I put my clothes on I feel more relaxed. And I'd be like, all right, just give me the CBD. And then I would put his ticket in the bag, I say bye, and I go fix the machine because somebody in the back of the store machine is not working right and they getting upset. But now that I'm only focused on the drop off service, he comes in, I'm like, hey Eduardo, good to see you again. How's the family? Because now I'm developing a bond with him because I'm solely focused on this one niche. And then I'm like, he don't even have to tell me his preferences. I know already because I'm focused on it. I developed this bond and I'm focusing on this aspect of my business even more. You want CBD and you want cold water. You want organic detergent. No problem. Got you. And you want it on Wednesday, right?
Well, the data helps.
That's if you right. But you become more in tune right. with that data when you're focusing, when you start niching down, that's all you're looking at. You become really super good at it.
Before Waleed gives you his 5 niche tips, I want to just tell you, if you're not sure what your niche may be, contact a business coach. Go to a small business development center, a women's business development center.
Or you could download my new ebook that I'm going to drop next week.
Don't talk about no ebook if you're not going to drop it next week. But there are resources out there, the SBA, the small business development centers, that can help you identify your niche if you're not quite sure what that is. Right. We have Business Coach. We use those resources that are free.
And sometimes you stumble upon it. Like, it just doesn't happen.
But sometimes people will just say, well, have you thought about doing this? Be like,
and you're like, no.
When you going to get them 5 tips?
Wait a minute. But before, I'm not done. But let's not make this all peaches and cream, because you got to be careful niching down, because it could work against you. Mm-hmm. There are some disadvantages of, niching down, and you need to be careful. Because when you start niching down, you got to remember you're going to a smaller market, right? So now if I had a supermarket and I'm selling everything, I'm appealing to a larger variety of people to come through the door, because my shelves have all kind of products in it, right? Mm-hmm. And the supermarket might not be the best example, but let's stick with that for now. But then I decided to say, you know what? I'm going to make my supermarket only organic items. So now I got less product on the shelf and my prices are going up because it's a higher price point. And it's going to be less people who are going to come through the door that just want to shop all organic. So you got to be careful and know the market, because you could niche down too much and put yourself in a bad space dollar-wise, because that market might not be big enough. And you got to know about the competitors in that market, because you don't want to go so niche down that you're in a niche where the dollar value isn't there. So if you niche down and you're selling high profit margin items or big ticket items, like, I don't know, like these luxury sports cars. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the stats are, but I'm sure the average salesman is not selling a whole lot of Ferraris every year. But the price is so big, his commission is different. The money the company makes is different off it. Versus if you go to the regular lot where
Charlie's.
Right, and you buying a Honda or
Mr.
a
Charlie's,
Ford.
you got to send a whole lot of
right. The salesperson's got to sell a lot
volume.
of these $35,000 cars, etc. So just be mindful. There's 2 sides of this, but we believe from our experiences there's way more advantages to niching down than it is.
For example.
So here's my 5 personal advantages that we've experienced from niching down. You're focused. Because you're focused on this one or a few products or services, you get to become the expert. And as becoming an expert, you get to study it. You get to know all these little facets about these particular products or services that probably the average place is not going to know. So then you get to impart your clients or prospective clients with that knowledge, and they'll be like, wow, this joker here really knows what they're talking about, and they really know their product or they know their service, and it be inclined to get them to use your product or service. And that also builds trust. So the other one is, we talked about it, you develop a better relationship with your client and customers. And we talked about that. I'm not going to go into it. The other benefit it is, there's less competition in that when you niche down. So going from being a big supermarket down to this organic market, there's less competition that I have to fight with. Now, because you're niching down, you're becoming an expert in your product or service. You can charge a premium, because you can add these simple little facets, or maybe they're complicated, to this product or service, because you become the industry expert in that particular thing. I don't know, organic granola for your organic supermarket. And the fifth one, the last one, that I think is a huge advantage, besides being an expert and building better customer relations and loyalty, is marketing and advertising. Think about it. You have a whole bunch of SKUs. You have a whole bunch of products and services. You have to market those 10, 20 different products or services. You cut your services or your products down to a couple items that you specialize in. Now you get to build your marketing around this one product, or these couple products or services, and you can really drill down on who you need to target. So you can, in theory, spend less money on advertising and marketing and have a way bigger impact, because that advertising and marketing can be have a more powerful message, because you know so much more about it, and you don't have to try and reach a larger audience. You're drilling down to a super specific audience, and you could keep putting that information in front of them over and over and over again, track them, learn their behaviors, and then convert them. And then you convert them the first time, then now you're serving them up more products or services in that specialized area. So those are my 5. Focus, be the product expert, build better customer and client relations, less competition, get to charge a premium for that specialized service or product, and you have an easier product or service to market, because it's less things you're focused on.
Well, Zig Ziglar once said, if you aim at nothing, you will hit every time. So we encourage you in your businesses to niche down and find that sweet spot where you can focus and win, win, win. It's been such a pleasure to have you here in Commerce and Chill Land. We hope that you'll come back and visit us soon. If you haven't done it before and you're on the YouTube platform, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe for your favorite podcast platforms. Like, leave us comments, DM us.
It's over there.
And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for visiting Commerce and Chill.